Hi, this is Faith, and you are watching The Faith Factor. Holla.
All right. Good afternoon. This is the Faith Factor coming at you live. You know, every now and then I like to stick my head in and talk to my beautiful black people, especially the ladies, because, you know, I know that lately I have not been doing a lot of these videos, and I'm going to tell you why. You know, for the most part, black YouTube can get to be to the point where you're just like, meh, it's the same old, same old. The gender warring, that is beginning to get old. It's been old, to be honest with you. And yet, it's still very lucrative. It still draws a mighty big crowd. So, in looking at different content, if gender war is all of your content, in my opinion, you ain't really got nothing to offer or to talk about, truly. This is just a niche market for you to make money, fast money. And I see a lot of people capitalizing on that. They're capitalizing on that niche market. And it's exploiting a lot of the ignorance of our people, because we like to hear things that kind of resonate, or we think resonates with us, because some of us have been so hurt by the opposite sex that it feels good to hear someone come in and just give it to the black men or give it to these black women. It feels good. It kind of, vindicates you a little bit. It kind of gives you a temporary boost to your already low self-esteem when you hear somebody else taking a dump on people, a group of people that you perceive to have done you wrong. So, in listening to all of this for years and years, it becomes depressing. Just to be honest with you, I have to take these breaks, these sanity breaks, just so I can water my own rose garden. And I want to say hello to everybody coming in. I see Slayer Jim and Amanique are chiming in. What's up, ladies? All right, but I'm not going to really dwell on YouTube, because we all know black YouTube is a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down, mostly down, really, really fast in a spiral. And it just seems as if we're perfectly fine with that downward spiral. We're perfectly fine with it. So, you know what? If you guys like it, I love it. I'm not going to argue with you. But I am here to give a message, and I usually don't come on here unless I have something to say. As I listen to the different groups, Women and Men, Kevin Samuel, Cynthia G, Black Woman Sphere had a really good broadcast this morning. I was really feeling her live. And a word about Woman Sphere, I'm noticing a change in her tone. It's the same tone. She's very strong. Woman Sphere is always going to be a strong black woman, and she's unapologetic about it. But I also see and I hear it feels as if she's kind of happy. And you can tell when a person is happy. It's all in how they speak, it's in their tone. She has a strong tone. That's never going to change. But I hear contentment. And so I'm so happy for her. I don't know what it has changed in her life or what has gone on in her life, but her message and the tone of her message, they're in symbiosis now. And I absolutely love to see when someone is winning and they're being effective. And right now, Woman Sphere is highly effective in her message. So if you haven't had a chance to listen in on any of her content, please do, because it's smoking hot fire. What's up, Jerome Whiteside in the house? Yeah, I saw Jerome Whiteside also. I'm gonna put Jerome on the spot. I saw Jerome Whiteside in a forum the other day, and boy, oh boy, was this a different person than what I was used to experiencing when I used to go into the chat rooms, when I would be on O'Shea's channel and break down a woman's perspective. Jerome and we would go at it. We were at each other's throat. But Jerome has a very soft side, guys. Jerome has a tender side to him, and he actually loves Black women. So it's nice to finally meet you, Mr. Whiteside. Nice to finally meet you. Okay, guys, but that's enough of me, going through my little spiel, because I don't plan on being up here that long. But I did have a message in my heart, and that is to speak on. Jerome says, I grew up. I see. I see. So proud of you. So very proud of you. The title of this live stream is about people who go where they're celebrated versus people who are just running. And see, there's a difference. Now, in the Black community, we love to wash each other's faces with our mistakes, especially when we're young. And the thing about it is, there's not ever going to be a perfect person under the sun. So when you're young and you're first starting out, you're going to be ignorant of a lot of things, especially if you don't have an older person that is a good mentor to you. Especially if you don't have a good mentor. And see, I was listening to Woman Sphere, and she was talking about how she was a good mentor to her daughter. That from day one, she was there in her daughter's life, watering her with love and molding her. And so therefore, even if her daughter made mistakes, they weren't the type of mistakes that were going to ruin her for the rest of her life. Because make no mistake about it, we are all going to stumble and fall. But it just depends on how hard you stumble and fall in the beginning. That could shape the rest of your life for the good or the bad, or make it that much harder for you. And see, those of us who had the benefit of having good mentors, we stumble, we fall, but we didn't fall hard because our mentors were there guiding us. And then there were those of us that didn't have the mentors. And those of us that didn't have the mentors, well, we were ignorant of a lot of things because we didn't have the guidance. And so there was a lot of stumbling, a lot of falling. And when we fail, we often fail hard. And so those hard life lessons is what helped shape and mold us into the people that we are today. So you see, when we as a Black community, we like to wash each other's faces with our mistakes, I want each and every one of you to remember that you could not be the person that you are today unless the person that you were yesterday went first. See, I'm the Faith that I am today, older, wiser, more seasoned. Because little young Faith that I was yesterday, she had the burden of going first before the faith that I am today. She went first. Do you know how extremely hard it is to go first? When a person volunteers first and they don't really know what they're getting into, they're kind of wading in those waters, unsure. It's tough when you don't have all the answers. And so you learn as you go. And then as you learn, you grow from each and every experience, whether it's good or bad. You learn from your triumphs as well as your mistakes. What's up? I am Allison in Wonderland and Koja Malik. But now let me tell you something. It's always, always, always the people that are the closest to you that will beat you down and never let you forget from whence you came, even if you have elevated yourself 10 times over. And that would be your family. Family will always be the number one haters of your growth as a human being. And so there are always people when they're in a situation where they're trying to do better for themselves, but they keep being reminded of their failures in life by the very people that supposed to love them and nurture them and encourage them. Now, some of us may have had some great families, but I'm not going to lie. My family was hard. They were tough, especially on the women. What's up, Third Ward Colombian? My family was tough, especially on the women. The women had no margin for error whatsoever. And so if you stumbled and made a mistake, you never lived it down. Never. And I remember there was an aunt in my family. She had a child out of wedlock and a failed marriage and one infidelity under her belt. And people labeled her with the scarlet letter in my family. I mean, they never let her live it down. She was the whore of the family. And even as she was raising her children by herself, even as she went back to school, got her degree, and even as she pulled her children out of the ghetto into a a middle income suburban community, she did all of that single-handedly. But every time she came around certain people in the family, they never let her forget she was a whore. Never. And anybody she brought around her family, the family made sure to disrespect her and talk to her like she was crazy. She had no respect with her family. So now what does a person like this do when you're in a place where you're not celebrated? If you're somewhere where you're not respected, people talking to you like you're crazy, what do you do? Well, this aunt, she took up her and herself and her children, and she moved. Next time I saw her, she had a plethora of friends, people that respected and admired her. I saw a complete difference with how people in the little space that she created for herself treated her, and how we used to treat her when she came around us. Exactly, Coach Malik. You have to disassociate yourself, because while you're building yourself up, you can't build yourself up while people are simultaneously tearing down what you're building. And see, she was building herself up, but the family kept tearing down what she was building, had her second guessing herself, had her thinking that she was stupid, had her thinking that she was nothing and wasn't never gonna be nothing. And in the way that they regarded her, how they dismissed her everywhere she went. But in the new circle of people that she surrounded herself with, she didn't have any of that. She got treated with respect, and she was reverenced for being the bright and intelligent woman that she came to be. Monique says, I am the queen of cutoffs. You gotta be. You gotta be. Now, I have a lot of family that are, very religious, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what really bothers me about some people that are religious is that they preach and teach the love of Jesus, but they don't actually extend the love of Jesus to everybody. And most of the people that was washing this woman's face with her past transgressions all the time, these were Bible thumpers, the so-called Jesus freaks. And they'll go on and on about how people running away, and wherever you go, there you are. You can't just be a hoe over here and then run over here and change your life. Says who? Says who? Because apparently, when this person got the hell away from you all, her life did change. She got around people that knew how to talk to her like she had good sense. She got around people that wasn't constantly reminding her of her past failures. And she did eventually meet and marry a man that saw the value in the woman that she eventually became. And it was all thanks to the change of environment. So there's a difference between going where you're celebrated and running. Slayer Jim says, you can't change your life unless you go over to the other side doing the same things. Yes. Now, here's the other thing, and I'm going to flip the other side of the coin, because that's an example of going where you're celebrated because you genuinely wanted to change your life and be a different person, but your current environment was not an environment to help you cultivate the growth that you were trying to make. So in those instances, it is necessary to change your environment. But now, running is something totally different. Now, if you know that you have participated in some pretty dirty, low down, nasty activities, and as a matter of fact, you're not sorry about those dirty, low down, nasty activities. You might be a little embarrassed, but you're only embarrassed because people found out about it. You're not embarrassed because you want to change. You're embarrassed because people know. And now you want to run and get somewhere where people don't know you and the type of person that you are within your core because you don't want to change. So you want to get around people that are unsuspecting so that you can wield your predatory, nasty behavior on them until they find you out. Because you have no intention of doing better. There are people like this too. And there's a difference. And so my message to you today is don't be that second person. Because truly, when the Bible thumpers talk about wherever you go, there you are, they're talking about these types of people. This is who that relates to. That's who that correlates to. Not the people who you can visibly see have changed their lives and they're doing well for themselves. If you see a person is not the same person that they started off, leave that person alone. Stop reminding that person of their failures because clearly you can see their successes. So their failures are now a mute point, right? And see, we as individuals, when we see this toxic behavior within our families and in our communities, where a person that is clearly doing good for themselves is being dragged, you pull the person who's hating coattail. Don't join in with them because that makes you just as bad as them. And that's the other thing. That's that crab in the barrel mentality that black people have real bad. You doing good. Now I want to drag you back down and remind you that you came from the bottom of the barrel right along with us. That's that crab in the barrel mentality that we got to start nipping in the bud. But on the other hand, if you see a person that's a runner, they're not trying to improve. They're just running away from the responsibility of the turmoil that they've caused, especially in other people's lives. And they're not getting any better. Now that's the person that you can look at and say, yeah, you're running, and wherever you go, there you are, because you haven't changed. You're still running that same tired game in this city, in this state, in that hemisphere, that planet, no matter where you go. You're still getting the same results because you haven't changed. And you're not hating when you tell a person that. because you can always tell a tree by the fruits that it bears. And the energy that you throw out into the universe. And if it's always negative, you're always in the middle of some controversy. It's you. And people are right about you. They're not talking about you because they're hating. They're talking about you because you're going around spewing toxicity everywhere you go. But to those of you who have stumbled a few times in your youth and you learned from those hard lessons of life and you course corrected yourself onto a different path and you became a confident, self assured, and successful adult, congratulations to you. Congratulations. Because it's very hard to go first in life without knowing. Now, the second time around, when you had to go through the very same obstacle you went through the first time, well, past experience will teach you to go a different direction if you're smart. And when you learn better, you do better. That's the way it always goes. So when you hear these guys sitting up here talking about baby mamas, yeah, I do not advocate for baby mamas. But a lot of these baby mamas was like 18, 19 when they became baby mamas. Even if you were in your early 20s, that's kind of young. You're a young parent. And I see a lot of young adults out here making plenty of mistakes. So cut them a break and mentor them. Stop dragging these young people. Stop it. Because you're not helping them by putting them down and labeling them. And I really do believe that some of you have no intention of helping anybody. Because misery loves company. And because you made some pretty poor decisions that you're not proud of, well, the next best thing is to go ahead and rag on somebody else and make that other person feel bad in order to boost your own self esteem temporarily. And that's some sad shit. That's real sad. And I see a lot of black people, grown people in their 50s, doing this. You should be mentoring, but you're instead acting like teenagers in the high school cafeteria. I got a lot of young people in my family that I mentor. I got a lot of young people that I talk to on a daily. And I'm going to tell you something. I have seen some pretty stupid moves that these young people make. But I'm there to steer them in the right direction, not beat them down. There's a difference. See, Black America needs to learn the difference between beating people down and shaming them into submission and steering a person in the right direction, building that person up and helping them to course correct their lives. Course correction. There's a difference. On the one hand, you got a person beaten and tearing down. On the other hand, you got a person who's building up the individual to be better than what they were before. And that should be the ultimate goal every time. But I submit to you right now, a lot of these people in Black YouTube, especially online and these online communities, Facebook, Instagram, their ultimate goal is not to build anything up. Especially, there's this one guy that comes on YouTube all the time. His name is Minister Jap. He's always negative 100% of the time. And his anger and vitriol abounds in the men who watch his platform. Now, a friend of mine, he's in the military, and so he gets a lot of military news articles. And there is, according to a military news article that he read, an increase in incels joining the military. And they're angry at women. And so they're joining the military so that they can learn how to better kill women, because they're angry with women and they want to kill them. And see, people like Minister Jab and, of that ilk that are constantly dwelling on negative messages with their audience, these are the type of people that you're breeding. You are breeding sociopaths. But then when something happens, when a bunch of men get together and they start beating on women, killing women, and they start citing who they follow online, because the FBI will go all the way back in your social media activity to see who you're following online. And when they see, oh, you've been following Jason Black, because that happened to him once. There was a guy that was quite disturbed, and he was going around mass shooting people for no reason. And he happened to be a Jason Black follower, because the FBI went and looked at his social media activity. I'm so glad that Jerome Whiteside found himself and he pulled himself away from that. And he hasn't walked down that road. But there are so many Black men that don't know that that's the path that they're on, because they're hearing nothing but 24/7 hatred. Can you imagine? These men are going to join the army just so they can kill women, because these women rejected them. And they feel as if they shouldn't have to better themselves in order for women to be more attracted to them. And one person in the article stated that he knows that women like men in the military. So he's going to join the military and he's going to get all buffed up and everything that women like so that he can lure women in so that he can kill them. Now, just think about how that sounds for a minute. Think about the distorted degeneracy of a person's mind. Whereas you know what women like, and you're going to go and be what you perceive women like, but not so that you can get a woman, but so you can kill them because they didn't want you as a loser. Make that make sense. But they think this is absolutely right. What's up, Miss J? Long time no see. It doesn't make sense. You're going to better yourself so that you can get rid of all the women that didn't want you when you weren't better. It seems like a waste of time and effort to me. A total waste of time and effort. And some of you will let your anger at the opposite sex consume you so much to the point where it will distort your entire way of thinking. Exactly, Allison in Wonderland. She says, reminds me of a military guy I dated, attractive but creepy and misogynistic. Koja Malik says, people that like self confidence and self control want to control others. Many fail to see the connection with the burdensome restrictions placed on women. Exactly. And Koja Malik, you hit the nail on the head. People that lack self confidence and self control want to control others. This is so true. Let me tell you guys something, and this is for the ladies too, but mostly for the men, because you guys, this really affects you the most because you're men and because you are perceived to be the leaders, and you want control and you want the respect of the women and your male colleagues. But when you don't get it, you seek to control people who you perceive are weaker than you. Even if you controlled every aspect of another person's life, it's not going to give you any more self confidence. It's not going to give you any more respect in the eyes of other people. It's not going to give you any of those things that you're lacking on the inside. Men, you getting with a bad chick that got a big get what they call it jungle booty. She got jungle booty, big old titties, and she's bad. See, a lot of you try to live vicariously through other people and things to give you the confidence that's lacking on the inside. You're looking externally for something that you should be trying to give yourself internally. You're not going to find any of this stuff on the outside. It's not going to be in a car with rims. I don't know if rims are a thing anymore, but it's not going to be in any fancy, expensive car or anything or any human being is going to be in you. And it takes time to build confidence. The same way it took time for your confidence to be destroyed. And you're going to have to just work on yourself. I beg of you, men, before you get into any relationship and put yourself as a head of any household, make sure that you have worked on yourself and that you are a whole individual with confidence. Because confidence is very key for a man. There's one thing that Kevin Samuels and I do agree on. Oh, thank you, Miss J. And I'm happy to see you here too. Cole just says the control issues of showing too much skin, wearing too much makeup, wearing certain clothes that breeds contempt to hate for women. Exactly. And also the control issue of caring about what women wear on their head. Oh, that bonnet has to go. She got weave. She wearing makeup. You know, all the things that women do to beautify themselves or be comfortable. As a man, why are you caring about those things? If you don't like the woman with the weave, if you don't like the woman that wears the bonnet, don't date her. Because I live out here in Phoenix, guys, and I'm going to tell you there are other groups out here that are worse off than we are. The stuff that we complain about, I think we're pretty good. Because what I see out here, what these white women are out here doing, and these Hispanics, human trafficking, the Asians are really, really bad with that, with their in their shops. You think all they do is do nails in those shops? You think all they're doing is massages in those shops? The other day, a friend of mine, he saved an Asian woman from a suicide attempt. Suicide is apparently a thing amongst Asian women. So I'm telling you, you know, we think we got it bad. Won't you step outside of your bubble, take off your rose-colored glasses whenever you look at other groups of people and see them for who and what they really are. They are really going through something, especially with this pandemic. Everybody's true colors are shown. You want to talk about the ghetto-ness of black women walking around showing their butts, their butt cheeks, when all I see is ashy gray butt cheeks out here in Phoenix. So they doing the same thing everywhere. It's not just black women that are out of order. I would say it's women, period. And now, you know, men, they're starting to kind of, you know, adjust their language because now they don't just say black women, but they say women of the Western culture, American women, because they know it's not just black women. The other day, I live in a very, very restrictive community, and it's gated. And every now and then, you know, these white yuppie, you know, white hippie kids or whatever you want to call them, hobos or whatever, but they're white. They'll come and they'll scale the wall because we got this really nice resort style pool area where I live. And so I can tell they don't live here because They go and they build themselves a ladder and they scale over the wrought iron fence to get to the pool area that is locked at nighttime. And they're in there just swimming. I went out onto my patio and I saw them throwing the pool furniture over the gate. These two white girls throwing the patio furniture over the gate, just tearing up the community, messing up the patio furniture. These are white girls. And I said, hey, you put that furniture back. You don't live here. I live here. You're tearing up my community. I pay rent over here. This is where I live. I don't want to step up out of my patio and see furniture thrown over the wall. You get your ass out of here. Yeah, I was getting my black Karen on. Yeah, I turned into the black Karen for a moment. But imagine if those had been black girls throwing the patio furniture over the gate. What do you think would have happened if it was a white woman that stepped out onto her patio and saw that? Instant 911. Instant. And the girls threw the patio furniture back over and they ran off. And my neighbor, who's an older white lady, she said, "Oh, they're just kids. They're just kids." And I agree, they're just kids. I know they're going to do dumb shit. That's the reason why I was there, to pretty much tell them, hey, put it back. Get the fuck out of here. But if they had been our children, I wonder if my white neighbor would have just seen them as children. And you want to know what's even sadder of all? Saddest of all, you got some black people that don't even see our children as children. Because I have heard black men say that if a young girl gets her period, she's a woman. We don't even see our young people as young people that need guidance. We can't wait to jump on them and ride them like they're grown folks. So we don't even see our children as children either. And so what if that had been black girls throwing that patio furniture over the gate? Well, even black people would have been calling them ghetto and ratchet, BT 1000s, hood rats. That's what our girls would have been reduced to. We would not have said those are young people. And see, that brings me to my last and final point, this gender war, the divestors, the men that are so called saving themselves. A lot of these people are just black people that don't like other black people. And so we developed a prejudice against ourselves as a group. And so now when I hear people like Minister Jap refer to black women the way that he does, it is not out of love. It is out of hatred. When I hear some of the women who are calling themselves divestors talking about black men ain't this and black men ain't that, it's not out of love of your fellow sister. It's out of hatred for black people. You are trying to escape being black, and you think that if you sound just as bigoted as white people, that you have arrived. Somehow you think that makes you better. Some of you are absolutely elitist, or you want to be elitist. Majority of black people, we are working poor, but you got the most elitist working poor people looking down their nose at each other. You're both working side by side in the call center, driving your Kia Soul, but your Kia Soul is brand new, and this person's is 10 years older than yours. So you're better than that person. This is what we've been reduced to as a black people. We are elitists, and we're poor, all of us. As a group, we're poor, but we got a nerve to have elitists in the group. And if you let them tell it, they don't know no poor motherfuckers. They don't know no poor black people, but 80% of us are. Who is lying here? Thank you, Gracious Eightness, for the $5 super chat. Gracious Eightness says that's absolutely absurd. A child could start seeing her period from 8 years old. It doesn't make her an adult. This is so concerning. Worried much. Yes. What's up, woman's fear? She said it's self hatred. Absolutely. You know, we got a lot of black people that got a long way to go. We got people up here teaching other people to hate like they hate. And they have formed armies of hate mongers. They're not teaching you to self improve. They're not teaching you how to give the next person the hand up to self improve. They're teaching you to hate like how they hate. And I sat here online and I watched it going down for years. And that's the reason why I don't even come on here that much anymore. I just can't do it. Exactly. America's one paycheck from homelessness. So black America is even worse. The pandemic exposed how many were not prepared. Exactly. But you know what? White people in general like to hide what they're really, really going through and what they're about. See, it's all about the haves and the have nots. Because there are a lot of white people going through right now. It is very evident when you go to California and over here in Phoenix, you see Tent City, nothing but white folks living on Skid Row. So it ain't just us. Majority of America is one paycheck away from being homeless. That's the full majority. It's going to come down not between race, but it's going to come down to the haves and the have-nots. That's what it's really going to boil down to. The race war, the gender war, all of these are red herrings to what's actually really going down. And if you all don't wake up and take hold to all these opportunities that are out here, you're going to get left in the dust because Joe Biden, he's about to pass a bill that's going to give everybody who was affected by COVID-19 Social Security. And these are people that have extreme symptoms. He's trying to pass something like that right now. That's coming down the pipeline. Well, we all know that a great majority of Americans were affected by this. And see, I said a long time ago that socialism is coming. Once they start getting the majority of people getting the paycheck, the majority of people getting government assistance and aid and housing and all of that, well, socialism will pretty much be here. They're automating everything. This has been the agenda from day one. And so then there will be two classes, the haves and the have-nots. Pay attention. All handouts are not good handouts. Yes, Joe, the YouTube thing can vex your spirit. I'm telling you. I get so tired of hearing the same stuff over and over again. Hey, I got to change the channel sometime. So you guys beware of what's going on. And I'm going to give you another tip. Because, see, since this pandemic has started with the whole essential versus non-essential, there are a lot of jobs they're phasing out. They phased these jobs out during COVID. There are a lot of businesses that pretty much had to go bankrupt. And so what ends up happening is now we are officially Americhina because a lot of Chinese companies came in and bought out these American companies. These businesses that were owned by American are now owned by Chinese with an American face front. Pay attention to what's happening. They're phasing out a lot of jobs. So as you enter back into the workforce, you'll start seeing that everything is more automated. You'll start seeing that there are more jobs that you could do from home, and even that is starting to become automated. Exactly. Allison in Wonderland says, my office is a ghost town, laying off left and right. Yeah. A lot of these places, a lot of these companies are not coming back. But what I was going towards, a lot of you look down on the people that bring you your groceries. A lot of you snub your nose at the Uber driver. A lot of you turn your nose up at the package handling guy that's delivering your package. A lot of these people are independent contractors. Now, one thing that's never going to change is people are going to need to get their stuff. So if I were you, I would either invest in the upcoming gig economy or buy a fleet within the gig economy, especially with Amazon freight. That's what's going to be hot. That's what's going to be happening. That's what's popping right now. I know a lady that delivers groceries for Instacart. She showed me her pay, her weekly pay. But the last 7 weeks, this woman is averaging 1,500 a week. That's 6,000 a month. That's more than a lot of you make at your regular 9 to 5. So whenever you see the Instacart lady with the grocery bags and she's all too happy, smiling and everything, and then you look at her car look nice, look like she got new wheels on it, don't look teeter tattered and like it's falling down. They're making money. Why do you think you see these white women and these little old ladies delivering groceries all of a sudden? Think, people. But see, black people, we sit up here and we laugh at the Uber guy and we laugh at the lady delivering the groceries, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. Exactly, Joe. Drop shipping. I had to get hip on that. A friend of mine told me about drop shipping. I had no idea how much money was in that. Yeah, Coach Malik. The independent contractor is a setup also. The rules made are to benefit the company. They beat the drivers out of money by piggybacking. This is true. But like I said, that's with anything that you do. Punching the clock and working a regular 9 to 5, do you think that they're actually being fair in what they're paying you? I would rather be an independent contractor than punch the clock, because that means I work when I want to work, and when I need to be off, I can be off and I ain't got to ask nobody for nothing. You all got to get out of that employee mindset, which is nothing wrong with being an employee. But I'm telling you, don't look down on the people that choose a different path, because they are getting paid. Gracious Aiton says, sorry, I don't want to detract from the main points of your discussion. However, America is generally the best marketeers and y'all set trends. The rest of the world watches, especially the BC. Yes. Love Wisdom. What's up, lady? That's my girl, Love Wisdom. In the house. I ain't seen you in a while. Koja says, my husband has an independent contract lawsuit going now. It is horrible. It is. I'm gonna tell you now, they'll steal from you too. But what I'm trying to say, Koja, is even with your regular 9 to 5, they do you wrong. You have to go to human resources and you have to fight with them, and then you got to go to the EEOC. Everybody has a struggle, but if I'm going to pick a struggle, I would rather pick a struggle of being an independent contractor, punching my own clock. And if I gotta sue you, that's what I gotta do. The same way as if I was punching a clock. If I gotta go to HR, then that's what I gotta do. And if I gotta escalate from HR to the EEOC, that's what I gotta do. It's two sides of the same coin. The only difference is on one side, I gotta punch a clock and I have to answer to somebody. On the other side, I don't have to punch a clock. I don't have to answer to nobody. So it's just basically, which cards would you rather play? Now, like I said, there's nothing wrong with either or, but you have to make that decision in and of yourself. Yeah, they did. They cut drivers' pay like 30% and increased mileage and stops by hours and 10. Yeah, yeah. And he's right to fight back. You're going to have to. The same way that you have to fight within a company to get fair pay and fair treatment is the same way that you have to do as an independent contractor to get fair pay and fair treatment. It's no different, Koja. There's always going to be a fight on either side. It's never going to be perfect. But hey, guys, I'm on here for like an hour. I was intending to only, every time I say I'm going to do a 15-minute talk, I always end up being up here for like an hour. But you know what? It's so good talking with all of you. You guys engage me, actually. I'm supposed to be engaging you, but you guys engage me. And I always appreciate talking to each and every last one of you. Let's see here. Who do I have in the audience here? I had Slayer Jim, Monique, Jerome. I'm Allison in Wonderland, Third Ward Colombian. I think I saw Woman Sphere, Eric Bird, Miss J. I had Joe W. I love Joe. I had a lot of people in here. Ronald Crump, Gracious Eightness, all the usual suspects. Love Wisdom, my sister Love Wisdom. That is my sister in love. I tell you, I love this woman like a sister. I truly do. You know, thank you to everybody that came in. And if you are listening to this live stream on the replay, please don't forget to like the stream because that keeps me on top. And if any of you listening right now, please remember to like the stream. And I am going to say I love you all. And I'm out. Peace.